Here are 9 music myths that will cost you your career and the facts that will set you free. I'm Brian, founder of Struggleville, a place for lost musicians to get a roadmap. There is a lot of bad information out there. There's a lot of good information out there, and to an independent artist, it is hard to decipher which is which. And that's why I would like to give you a few new ways of thinking about common music myths that are rampant within the industry today. Music myth number 1, music is free. You hear this from pretty much everybody who is in the industry. I am guilty of saying it many times myself, but the truth is we have more control than this. We don't have to give it all away to Spotify. Our music is as free as we make it. And even on streaming services, it's not free, and that negligible amount over time can be a pretty good investment in your music career. But before you send music out to the free streaming services, you should go through the necessary steps to offer that music to everybody who is already a fan of yours. And if you have a mailing list where you have access to your biggest, most ardent fans, you should use that audience to make as many sales ahead of time and exhaust that part of your market before wider circulation. And this will also serve as a FOMO factor for your future releases. So music isn't free. Music is as free as you make it. You don't have to settle for throwing every song you have out on streaming services and calling it a day. Music myth number 2, I need a manager, I need a booking agent, I need a record label. We've all said it, I certainly have, but the truth is that your dream is somebody else's nightmare. For every musician wanting their big break, there's another artist who got theirs and got burned by it. We've all heard the stories of record deals that became a prison, keeping people from releasing music and keeping bands indebted to the record label. There are managers who don't do their fair share, and that ends up costing the musician more in the end. The truth is, no one will show up for you better than you, and that goes for these music industry people as well. And they won't start showing up for you until you've earned it. It's got to be financially viable for them to put their skin in the game, and that's understandable. That's how it works in every industry pretty much. Even once you get that support, it's going to cost you the hard-earned money of your different artists' income streams. A booking agent is going to take 5 or 10% of each night. Your manager is going to take a little off the top. The record label obviously is going to want to recoup any money that they give you for recording and touring, etc. So this sort of help isn't free, and you'll be in a much better position if you are already a master of your domain as a music business. That way, if you do strike the lottery and get that record label or that record deal that you were hoping for, you have more leverage, more power in the conversation. And when they leave, you're not necessarily back to zero. You still have access to your audience and control over your brand and your business. Music myth number 3, I need more money before I can take any serious action toward my music goals. Your music plans need a how much? That's true. I'm going to give you that. But there are a lot of things that you can do right now for free 99. And if that magical money ever does show up, then you're going to be in a better place for having these sort of free online systems implemented to begin with. And in the meantime, you're not agonizing over the money you don't have and the steps you can't take, and you're actually making tangible progress toward your music dreams, and that is just a better way to live day to day. You're going to feel better day to day if you're focused on what you can do and not so much on what you can't do. And if what you can't do is something that is super important to you, then it's really just a matter of finding the how. And if it's something that you just really want to do, then there is a way. It's just about doing the math, running the numbers, looking at the timeline, and giving yourself a realistic vision of what it would take to make that tour or that music video or whatever come to life. It usually comes down to saving, planning, and networking. Music myth number 4, if I build a big enough social media following, I'll make it and be able to live off my art. While it's true that you can make additional money if you get big enough on social media is renting. Email is owning. Overnight, those social media platforms can disappear disappear. They can change their policies. They can change how they pay you. They can change if they pay you. And they can also just make your profile disappear overnight. You can get banned or flagged or shadow banned, which I'm not sure how often that really happens. But unless you're transferring that attention that you're getting on social media into a community or email list that you fully control and you can reach out to those fans at a moment's notice, then all that social media success is just going to be a flash in the pan anyways. And it's just not as sustainable as building your audience on your terms. Music myth number 5. If I just book more shows, record more music, and post more content, I'm going to make it. Each of those efforts by themselves will leave you spinning your wheels, and at the end of them, you'll be no further along than when you started if you don't have the right music business in place to catch the attention that you're getting on your social media content at your shows. If you can't talk to those fans again and offer them merch and tickets to other shows and different things, then you're not going to be able to make your music business support you in the way that you want to. And so planning a big tour is great, but make sure that you are getting as many of those fans as you can to join your music business's ecosystem so that you can continue to monetize their attention. They like you. We all like buying tickets to the shows that we like. We all like buying the merch to the artists we like. And so if someone has shown you that they like what you do, then there's nothing wrong with monetizing that and making your art more possible in the meantime. It's totally fair if you have an icky feeling about sales and whatnot, but it's really important that you get past that if you want this music business to be a viable option for your long-term life goals. Music myth number 6. This one, we've all said to ourselves at some point, surely, if my music were good enough, just releasing it would give me the career I need. And even if you haven't said that to yourself, verbatim, it's sort of the underlying plan that we allow ourselves to run off of when we don't have more of a plan. But the truth is, Van Gogh died broke and unknown. Every day we lose artists either to the capitalistic grind or the ceaseless march of time. And the best song ever written would still struggle to rise above the noise of this media-saturated world. It doesn't matter how great the song is if no one's attention is on it. And while it's true that a great song with the power to move people and with a hook that stays in your head and all that, your craft is going to play a part in that, but it still has to go hand in hand with a real plan, a real strategy to get people's attention on it so that it can strike the nerve that will resonate with people. And they will then return to it, tell their friends about it, and that attention will grow. Music myth number 7. I have to spend all of my spare time being a content creator. This, again, is an understandable take when we see the size of what being our own business and marketing ourselves and things like that, what they really look like. And the idea of posting every day is very relentless and it's a lot, and that's totally understandable. But I think if you take a step back, you'll see that you're just taking it at face value. You're like, oh, I have to post every day. That means I have to create a post every day. Well, that's definitely not true. You can batch create. You can plan ahead of time. You can still market yourself and not just give up on that very important aspect of your music business, but you can do it without burning out and without it becoming this last minute thing that you did in the morning, and it just kind of throws your whole day off when you try to wedge in work at the last minute. And your content is definitely going to suffer from that approach as well. When I started scheduling my videos out, not only did it give me so much relief from not having that daily grind, but it also was a much more relaxed approach, and I was able to be more creative and think more about the different elements that went into the content. And that's just such a better way to do this. And you can relegate the days that you make content and plan content to, certain hours and a certain routine, and just having 2 days a week that you shoot and post the other day maybe is going to do so much more for you than that daily scramble on the content hamster wheel. And you're going to enjoy it more. You're going to enjoy every day more. Every day that you're not scrambling to make content. Music myth number 8, I need 1 million Spotify streams. That is the most important thing I need. I gotta have Spotify streams, because if I don't have Spotify streams, then I don't get an incredibly small amount of money. As a business, Spotify streams are a worthy endeavor, but for it to be your top priority is a mistake, I think. Of course, it's always great if that algorithm supports you and something does snowball and you get a substantial amount of money from it, but even the best artists can't maintain that month after month, and no business should rest its foundations on such an unstable income stream. And just like social media services, Spotify can remove your stuff overnight and you have no control over that. You can maybe fight them and maybe you get it reinstated, but that's a pretty dicey game to play, especially if you're having that as the foundation of your business. I'm not saying it's not totally worth investing in and getting better at, but really you want the attention of an audience. That is the asset that keeps your business afloat and keeps it growing. It's not the Spotify streams. Those are an effect of some of that audience, but Spotify gets all those emails. Spotify can let them know if you put out a new song, but Spotify can't let them know that you're going to release that song 6 months earlier to a Bandcamp audience and charge $1 or $2 or $10 or pay what they want, which every $1 is like 100,000 streams on Spotify. So it's a dangerous bet to rely on Spotify, and you shouldn't put all your eggs in that basket until you've built a solid foundation to retain the attention again, of an audience, which is your asset as an artist. Don't forget that. Music myth number 9. This kind of goes hand in hand with the I need a manager, I need a booking agent, I need a big break. Everybody is playing the viral video lottery. We're just hoping to go viral. A lot of us are doing that just by sitting there and playing our song. And sometimes that works for people. But again, it is playing the lottery. You can't build a business on playing the lottery. And what is really going to help you so much more than that daily content grind and hoping that you go viral, or hoping that, you know, an A&R exec is at your next show, or hoping that someone just emails you and is like, I heard your song and it changed my life and I'm going to put it in this Steven Spielberg movie. We all hope that stuff happens, but you shouldn't form your business strategies around playing the lottery, right? So what's really going to help you more is just clarifying your vision. How much money do you want to make per month, per year? And can you work backwards? Look at all the different income streams that you have, the merch that you have, the shows that you play, the streaming money that you make, your Patreon, all of that, and reverse engineer how much of those things would you need? How many email subscribers? How many merch sales? How many Patreon subscribers? Do the math and figure out what that goal is for you to get that financial foundation that you're hoping for from your music. And that will clarify the work that is ahead of you. And now sometimes you're going to do that and you're like, wow, that's going to take a lot of work. You're right. It's a really awesome thing to be able to play music for a living, and it takes a lot of work, just like any other business does. Every day, business owners and entrepreneurs in other industries fail. Being a musician is no different, especially in this day and age when putting the music out there is so much more accessible. Building an online audience is so much more accessible. Where you're really going to differentiate yourself and, see exponential growth is when you focus on these foundational principles, using real goals, real money, and not just shooting for the moon with everything you do. And once you have a lot of these systems in place, then those moonshots are a lot more fun, and you can get more creative and you're more free to really explore their potential because you're not worried about all the little odds and ends that you're leaving to chance. These are just some of the music myths out there today that are hurting musicians' chances to make this their career. Obviously, this is not an exhaustive list. I'd love to hear some of the myths that you have heard, the beliefs that you're struggling with, and the obstacles, goals that you have for your music career. And if you ever want to talk about what your specific plan should look like, hit me up. I'd love to talk to you about it. You can book a free Struggleville strategy session with me at the link in the description, or you can go straight to welcome to struggleville.mykajabi.com. Welcome to Struggleville. Let's stop struggling.